So, Noble Day, or getting slagged for what I haven't done on my Noble. The noise in the background is someone cleaning glass out of a broken Lambo. So if you can hear that, that's what it is. This is going to be a bit of an anticlimax to some because I haven't turned any screwdrivers on my car, but I have made the pile of bits bigger with good bits. Yeah. So I did have an M130 and I sold it because MoTeC products are hard to find, and then I've got another M130, so that's the ECU I'm going to use on my car.
There you go.
Alright, so that's the same as what's on my R6.
Yeah.
So because stuff's so hard to find, like the LTC I got, I sold that to a very famous racing bike guy who's building a car. My M130 I sold to a British Superbike team because they just couldn't get product. So my replacement is here with a connector.
Good.
When we had the open day, I can't remember the guy's name, but me and him had a good chat about inlet manifolds, and it'll be better to show you when I've got my inlet manifold off of how crap it is, but he's converted his inlet manifold to this. Right. So this is off a Sable? I don't know. It's basically, it's off a American Ford V6, right? Yeah. So the one up there is shocking. So we're going to use this, we're going to delete all the crap off it. I'm going to clean it up in my blaster. But also I'm going to modify it to take an R8 throttle body. So I'm going to use a, I'm sure there's 74mm or 80mm maybe, because I've got one. I'm going to convert it to take a drive-by-wire throttle. Right. But this goes straight on.
Cool.
I can't remember the guy's name. Hopefully he comments. But yeah, he's told me what, he sent me the link, told me what I need to get, everything. So that's going to go on the top of the engine. It's going to flow a lot better. It looks a lot neater.
Yep.
Doesn't at the minute, it's got red pen all over it, but
it will do.
Do you know what I mean? Yeah, yeah, that's the plan. Yeah. So the bit I am most excited about though is so if we go here, right? That is the exit here, Dav. That's the exit for the fuel tank, right? So it comes out of there, round this hose, yeah, under here, round here, into the fuel pump, yeah, right? Round in a loop, through the fuel filter, and then it goes somewhere. Sorry, it goes through the fuel filter, yeah, through the pump, and then up to the engine, right? there's no surge tank in it, there's no nothing, and you're always left with an inch and a bit of fuel. By the time you've taken a pipe into account, it's probably 2 inches of fuel. Yep. So I'm going to throw that away because that's rubbish. Really, it's no good. Not for what I want to do with a car. On a road car, it's fine,
yep.
But on track, it's no good. So I've bought this. So how a fuel tank works in a race car, or you've probably seen race cars where we use a surge tank, but that's a weld-on flange. But what's going to happen on this is I'm basically going to cut the top of the fuel tank off, weld that flange on, and then drop this in.
Ew. Right. There we go.
So that's a surge tank. That's got a big 500 litre brushless fuel pump in it. So it's got a big fuel pump controller, and then that is the lift pump. So all that lift pump is there to do is to pick up from the bottom of the tank and fill the surge tank, and then the surge tank is what sends it to the engine.
Yep.
Right. So if I go here, and if I sit it on the box, so like that. All right. So obviously we've got the exit out, and then obviously the return,
yep.
And a vent and all sorts of bits, and then the fuel pump control. So you can pack 2 pumps into this.
Okay.
So obviously lift pump, which is that one.
Yeah.
So I've ordered a longer bracket because the tank is deeper. So
yep.
I'm literally going to cut the top of my tank off, weld up that port, and then this sock is going to sit right on the base of the tank.
Yep.
And that lift pump then will fill the surge tank. So that's what that is for. Then you've obviously got vent hose. So with a rollover vent, I've got a fuel level sender come in to drop in here, and then this is my remote fill neck. So that screws onto there. But the good thing about it is to service it, whereas on other manufacturers' ones, you've got to lift this whole assembly out to get to surge tank. On this, which is why it's called a QSST, quick surge tank, quick service surge tank, you just undo the top bolts and you just lift that cartridge off.
Oh, perfect.
So that's what I'm doing my fuel system. If I chuck it back in the bag, because chatting to some guys, especially some guys that use it on track, they're quite sensitive. The stock fuel system's just quite sensitive to use on track.
Okay.
Or rather the pickup is.
Yep.
And also it's a big dirty Bosch 044 fuel pump, and they're bloody noisy. So we've got, that's literally just a vent kit. So that goes onto the top of the tank, and then that's how you vent the tank.
Yep.
But the bottom of it has got a rollover valve in it. So if you put the car on its roof, it won't go on its roof because I'm not letting Mitch drive it.
Whoa!
It stops it rolling out the tank.
Yeah.
We've got fuel filter, but I've also, because I'm fancy, where is it? Not that one, these ones. Yeah, but that box is 2 of them. Nice shiny billet brackets for it.
Oh, billet.
So I'm going to mount that on the back of the tank.
Yeah.
So that'll be alright. I haven't decided yet. It is rotten, the tank, so I don't know whether I will get a Pro Alloy one or whether I can service that one and sort of save that one.
Yep. Let's face it, you're going to get the Pro Alloy.
Yeah, probably. A load of fittings. I've got, this is the fuel pump controller, so this is what the MoTeC will control.
Right.
So we'll basically have the lift pump running permanently, and then I run that on demand. So we start at a low duty cycle, and then as I need fuel pressure,
yep.
I'll obviously ramp it up with that. So that's the fuel pump controller. We've got the remote filler neck. So that goes onto the top of the tank,
yep.
and then that's what we use to sort the tank out, or to fill the tank. And
pretty comprehensive.
it is, and then this is a fuel pressure regulator. So, I haven't even opened it, mate. So that's how you got fuel in, fuel out, return, and then you can do your fuel pressure off it as well.
Yep.
And then you put a little adjuster screw in the top, so just a nice little part of the kit. So that's how I then control. Yes, I can control the fuel pressure with the pump controller, but you just put that in to give it stability. So yeah. So that's his fuel system. So when the tank is out, then I can get the top of the tank modified, cleaned, and then that plate welded on to get it mounted in and dropped in.
Yep.
So I think it should be all right. I don't know what injectors are in it, but we'll just take them out and get them cleaned and checked and figure it out whether there's new ones or what. I don't know.
Yeah.
But again, we're not going for sort of crazy power. We've spoken with CP and they do pistons, so I think I'll probably end up putting pistons in it. It's got arrow rods already from what the guys have said. I'll put valve springs in it. Yeah, so I just need to pull the engine out.
That's going to be the next.
And it's a lot of talk. It feels like a lot of talking and not a lot of doing. So I'm going to get a lot of shit for this, but customers' cars come first. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? But, like, getting there, slowly, but surely.
And you've not been covered in rust?
No, no, I haven't. I'll be fine. Yeah.
Good stuff.
Just build up to it. It'll be all right. If anyone wants to come down and unscrew stuff on a Noble, let me know. Yeah, Dave at DTB told me a good way to get that out without damaging anything, so I've got to do that.
Right.
But between getting cars out, I haven't touched it.
Yeah.
So.
And you know, you got racing as well going on.
Oh yeah, I'm racing this weekend.
Yes.
Well, no. If this is out Friday, I tested today and I'm racing tomorrow.
Right, there you go.
So it all depends. Power of YouTube.
Hey.
So, yes, I have got, what I am going to do is, the bits I've taken off, I'm going to offer to the community to see if they want to buy them or get them recycled. I don't want to throw anything away, but like, I got the stock ECU, stock wheels, you know, bits and pieces.
What about, while we're on subjects, when this is all coming back together, are you going to keep it the same colour?
Yeah, probably.
Okay.
I was thinking midnight purple, but I think all I'm going to do is just push people away from it.
Yeah.
So
that is the colour, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. Let's be honest,
not just
it
that
is.
colour. Let's be honest, they do a few, but
yeah. I know what you mean. Everything. I'm trying not to go too far away from the base car. I'm just trying to like resto mod it, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So yeah, the fuel system in my head. I'm not changing the car. All I'm doing is making it better for track work.
Yeah.
You know, putting a diff in it, making it better for what I want to do. Putting it on MoTeC, no different from what all the other guys have done. I'm just going to be in a fortunate position where I'm going to put a loom in it, so I'm going to move the ECU inside the car. You know, the engine, it's more so for you guys watching that I strip the engine and rebuild it, and do you know what I mean? It's like, it will be nice to know it's done, but it's got to a point where the only thing I did think about, the two things I've thought about that I might do, which are off the beaten path, is one, Vauxhall Corsas came with electric power steering. Well, there's two options. Vauxhall Corsas came with electric steering columns, and they're used a lot in race cars. So you just put basically a live and an earth to it and a speed signal, and you had electric steering. So that's an option. Volkswagen Polos used an electric power steering pump. So it was still a hydraulic steering system, but it was an electronic pump. Now, by doing that, I can dump the pump off the back and I can dump two lines out of the car because there's a steering cooler at the front. So I can dump all that away. So I'm thinking about doing that, about how I put power assisted steering in it, but get rid of the hydraulics because yeah, I know a lot of people, when you start changing pulleys and bits and pieces, the pumps take a pounding, but it's also something else that gets hot when you're on track. Whereas if you put electric steering column in it and I can mount it, that might be a better option. So I've thought about doing that. The other thing was, which is a little bit out there, was electric aircon.
Oh.
So again, take the compressor off it and run like what they run the GT3 and the LMP cars, run an electric air compressor in front. But I think that's probably less likely, if I'm honest, and it's more the power steering. But yeah, I just think it'd be good to get a load of stuff out the back that's generating heat and get it in the front where I've got space.
Makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, electric steering would be mint. So it's probably the column. If I was gonna, yeah, but if I do the column, then I've got a rack that is a power steering rack with no fluids in it. So then I'd need a non-power steering rack. See the problem I have?
Yeah, yeah.
So then I'm sat there thinking, okay, well maybe electric power steering pump then. I don't know. Does anyone know of a rack that doesn't need power steering? But then now I'm changing steering rack. Do you see the problem, Dav? All the time.
It's going around your head constantly.
I've got a full set of carbon ceramics from McLaren. So you see where that went, can't you? Let's put carbon ceramics on a Noble.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Now I need to make hubs and discs.
Yes.
Or carriers for the disc. Like, do you know what I mean? I have all these bright ideas. And I haven't got step 1 done yet. So.
Okay, so on that note then.
Back to work, Rick, and get the Noble stripped.
Yep.
So, yeah, at least everybody's kind of seen what's going on behind the scenes. Kind of seen what's going on behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Because it just looks like I do a lot of talking about a car and not much doing. But that all comes first. That comes probably like 4th with everything that's going on. But at least you can see the parts are starting to come in and collecting bits. And if anyone thinks I should be doing something different, then let me know, because it does generate a lot of conversation. And I got quite enthusiastic when the owners came down, and I got quite a lot of ideas. Obviously, the inlet manifold, that was an idea from a guy who came down here with a car. So, yeah.
Good stuff. Right.
In the words of Foxy's in town, let's strip it. That doesn't kind of work, but I thought it was funny. No?
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 Yes.
We're just nodding along there, Dav. That is tea time, mate.
It is tea time.
Smash the buttons. Tell me how rubbish this video is, and I'll see you next week.
See you later.